For the last 30 years, Thisted municipality has extensively used and invested in renewable energy resources.
The surprise is, why isn't everyone else doing what Thisted's doing? They're a lighthouse, but this should be going on right now all over the world.
What we see in Thisted is a blueprint for adapting to climate change. It shows that people and communities really count.
We are the leading climate-friendly municipality in Denmark, with more than 100% production of sustainable energy within electricity and 85% within heating. So we lead the field. Thisted municipality is a rural region of Denmark with 46,000 inhabitants. Thisted already started going green in the early 80s. This marked the beginning of a new and efficient way of implementing renewable energy technologies. When talking about sustainable energy, we look at three parameters. We use our citizens actively, we use our local companies, and we use the technological development that exists in the field. Then when all three parameters interact in a sensible and economical way, then you get a much better result. Today, Thisted is 100% self-sufficient in its electricity demand and almost 85% self-sufficient in its heating needs. Nearly 21,000 households and 1,700 private companies are powered, all by the force of nature.
We have climate change now affecting our planet in a fundamental way. So what's happening in this commune in Thisted, this should be the model, and we should be moving this to every community, every region of the world. It doesn't have to rely on Russian gas, doesn't have to rely on Middle East oil. It's all local. So it's what we call a third industrial revolution. That's what they've done in Thisted.
80% of Thisted's electricity comes from wind and the rest from other renewable energy sources such as biogas and power plants which run on industrial and household waste. The waste incineration also supplies 70% of the region's heating requirements. So, waste that would normally go into landfill sites is actually being reused to supply the energy needs of the community. The rest of the renewable heating production is made up of a combination of hay incineration, a farming waste product, and geothermal energy. This means that we hardly use any fossil fuel, less than 1% per year. The customers of this plant receive a bill for heating which is 1/3 of what it would be if oil was used instead. By using the waste combustion plant and straw, the community is producing energy using resources which are right under their noses, especially straw, which comes from the local farms. This means that the community gets cheap energy and the farmers get an income by selling something which is normally considered a waste product. One of the local farmers, Jens Kirk, has seen the advantages of working with renewable energy. He has a biogas plant and a windmill in his backyard. Our situation here in Thy obviously makes it a good place to set up a windmill. 75% of the time the wind is blowing in from south or west. As farmers, we have some waste products from our animals, but there are also other waste products in farming and industries, which can be converted into biogas and thereby energy, electricity and heat. Every day, Jens Kirk receives 55 tons of waste products for his biogas plant from local farmers, a slaughterhouse and a fish factory. They pay him money to collect their waste products, which he then uses for energy production. This sums up a viable process, and for Jens Kirk, a really good business. If we look at how much energy we produce from the biogas plant and the windmill, it would be equivalent to the consumption by 700 households per year. We are looking at a period of approximately 6 years to pay back the mortgage on a windmill. For the biogas plant, we're probably looking at the same period of time, maybe 7 years. But at the same time, we get a lot of cheap heating.
Now, what Thisted and other communities are doing is say, wait a minute, we have energy in our backyard. there's enough distributed energy in every backyard for their needs. We have sun. Everyone has it. We all have wind. We have garbage. In the rural areas, we have agricultural and forestry waste. In the coastal areas, we have the ocean tides and waves. Under the ground, heat, thermal, hydro. We've got it all. It's distributed. It's a lighthouse, but we want to go from pilots to the entire grid being like Thisted. So instead of this just being a good example, this should just be the beginning of laying out similar plans in every community across the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Power to the people.
Thisted hasn't been naive. In fact, it's created its own model, the Thisted model. It involves the local community, using existing and new technologies, but most important, ensuring that it makes good business sense.